Hello and welcome to the lands of Osten Ard. This is a guide of the locations and cultures found throughout Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn to help introduce you to the lands before you begin your reading journey. Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn is an epic fantasy trilogy written by Tad Williams. He has been an inspiration for some of today's most renowned fantasy authors such as George R.R. Martin, Patrick Rothfuss, and many others. Osten Ard is a wonderful fantasy world filled with many different races, languages, and cultures. In this video, I want to introduce you to the map of Osten Ard and give you a quick breakdown of each region and the people or things that dwell there. My goal is to not only make your reading experience more welcoming when you decide to start your journey in Osten Ard, but to also give you an appreciation of the wonder it beholds. At the center of the map, and really of the story for Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, we have Erkenland. Erkenland is populated with the Erkenlanders who resemble Anglo-Saxon Europeans and also houses the capital of all Osten Ard. This capital is named the Heyholt. The Heyholt is, at the time the books begin, ruled by a legendary High King Prester John. The most interesting thing about the Heyholt is that it once was ruled by an ancient race that controlled Osten Ard before man. These were the Scythi, also known as the Zydia, or the Dawn Children. And also to mention, I believe that these were the influences on George R. R. Martin to create the White Walkers from A Game of Thrones, or if you've read the books, A Song of Ice and Fire. Ages ago, they came to Osten Ard from the Garden. The Scythi live forever if they are not harmed, killed, or choose to die. After many conflicts with man, and also suffering an inherent weakness to iron, they were overthrown and man took control of the Heyholt, and with that, most of Osten Ard. It is worth noting that the Heyholt is also referred to in the text as Asua, which has its proper name was underneath the Scythi rule centuries ago. The only remaining structure from the original Scythi capital is the Green Angel Tower, and wouldn't you know it, that just happens to be in the title of the third book of Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. Wonder what that could mean. There are a lot of regions and areas in Osten Ard, but the other major players in Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn are Naban, Perdruin, the Ron, Hernesteer, Rimmersgard, and, get ready, Yikanuk. Yes, that's right, I said Yikanuk, which I will kind of explain that a little bit later. It's a strange land. But first we will journey all the way south of Osten Ard and get into the Ron. And the reason why I'm doing this one first is because, to be quite honest with you, it is the most unremarkable. And for all intents and purposes, it's really just a swampland. So think like the swampiest parts of Louisiana or Florida if you're from America. And if you're not quite sure with that, just think of a pretty generally humid and miserable place. But on to a brighter note, let's move up just a little bit north of the Ron into a region called Naban. Naban is awesome. It harnesses lots of coastal cities and is reminiscent of historical Italy of our own world. The population of this region speaks the language of Nabani, which holds basically to the rules of a romantic language, such as Italian. I guess Nabani is for lovers after all. Now we head just slightly to the west, where we have the port region of Perdruin, which, as you can imagine, controls much of the naval forces of Osten Ard. There's really not much to go over in Perdruin. It's kind of like the Ron in that regard, except that there's very, very crafty characters that you will meet in this area throughout the trilogy, and also has some of the best imagery I think that Tad provides us when describing a region of Osten Ard. Now we're going to slide just a little bit further north here to get to our next region, and it's also northwest of Erkenland, and this is the Celt-like people of Hernesteer, who are appropriately named the Hernesteeri, a very, very proud people. They are said to have the best relationship with the Children of the Dawn, or also known as we talked about before, the Scythi. Their language is roughly the same as the Erkenlanders, but with just a few exceptions. And now we go past the ever-freezing and appropriately named Frostmarch to reach the Viking-inspired region of Rimmersgard. They seem to be a very remote and yet brute force type of people with deep ties to their ancient lore and values. The Rimmersmen, which they are called, speak Rimmersback, which is just really Old Erkenlandish with a pronunciation change here and there. It's a very rough and direct tongue. If I had to pick one region out of all of Osten Ard, I think this would be maybe my first or second favorite, just because who doesn't love Vikings? And now for the last region, which is definitely a bit of a doozy. All the way northeast in Osten Ard, a very, very cold and chilly land, lies one of the strangest regions and cultures you can find. This is, and forgive me if this is wrong, I don't have any trolls to verify this with, but it is the land of Yikinak. And yes, I said trolls. The Yikinak is the land of the trolls. They have been very mysterious and for most part, not commonplace within the southern regions of Osten Ard. Their language is simply referred to as Kunuk, which, right, maybe it's not so simple. Where the letters C, Q, and K all make a hard K sound and U is always given an sound, it's pretty fascinating. It's also extraordinarily difficult to say. I don't think I'll be fluent in Kunuk anytime soon. And there is much more I could dive into with the histories and cultures of these people and their relationships to one another, but I think that's best left for another video at another time. I hope this guide to the lands of Osten Ard proves fruitful for all those who choose to make their journey across these wild and beautiful lands. Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn is not just beautifully written, but it's beautifully imagined and lived out through amazing characters, and it's a place that you want to visit over and over again. I am very fortunate to make this video and to dive deeper into the lore and cultures of Osten Ard. And lastly, I just want to thank everyone for checking out this video. I have an extreme passion for this series. It is shot up way into my favorite of all time list, and I want more people to have awareness to it. It can be a bit daunting getting into such beautiful lyrical writing with just a vast, dense world to dive into, but I think content like this makes it a lot more approachable. So I hope that this will be a guide and just really encourage more people to jump into this world. If you like this video, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. You can always come here to the Fantasy Network for some book reviews and hopefully more lore videos like this for various series, but for certain I would love to do more Osten Ard specific content as I get into the sequel trilogy, which will be finished this year in 2021. Again, I thank you so much for taking time to check out this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Leave me some feedback down in the comments. Have you been to Osten Ard? Are you going? And I would really love to know if this video was helpful for you. This is my first attempt at anything other than really a book review or something with me in front of the camera. So the more feedback I get, the better, and I can tell if this is something you guys want to see more of, or if you really just prefer me to stick to more of a vlog/review style. So again, thank you so much, and I hope I see you real soon in the lands of Osten Ard.